One, two, one, two, 1, 2, 3, 4. Will the screw ups and we're back for more. More guests and topics to explore. Screw up slash. Welcome back to the S.U.S podcast. Just wanna know so
Okay.
that our audience who's watching, who doesn't know anything about influencing, like what exactly is influencing?
Mhm.
What is it?
Mm,
Parang,
Not naman, you don't have to
parang
say in a
question na
classroom
rin yun ah.
perspective.
Parang may
Ano na
ano
eh.
yun, yeah.
Parang
Yeah.
isa.
No, but like, okay, it doesn't need to be like, how would you describe it?
Yeah, yeah.
If someone were to
Mhm.
ask you, like, what do you do
Yeah.
exactly when you influence?
It's a term being thrown around a lot right now, right? Like you agree,
Yeah.
like we just hear it all the time. And honestly, on my opinion as well, I feel like at this point anyone can really be an influencer because the requirements to be a quote unquote influencer doesn't take much, honestly, because
Yeah.
all you really need is a following, quote unquote following, and it doesn't even have to be necessarily big because there's a term also called called micro influencers. So those are the people I think like Janelle and I who don't
Yeah.
necessarily have such a significant number of following, but are willing to post like sponsored posts, like collaborate with brands to really endorse their products on our profile pages.
Influencers, they have a responsibility since they have a following
Mhm.
to also be a change.
Mhm.
You know, ako naniniwala ako na an influencer should not only just talk about brands
Mhm.
or mag-post lang ng what they like, but I think they should also be vocal about their own
Mhm.
beliefs, with their advocacies, and to also increase social awareness in the community.
Yeah.
So, parang if ever there's a person watching this video right now or listening to this podcast, you know, I hope that you could use your platform to make a change in your community because you know everyone can be an influencer no matter how much is your following. You don't need to get
Yeah.
paid to be an influencer to
Yeah.
make a change, diba? So
Yeah. Like
that's mine. Yeah.
I guess to just add to that, aside nga from the business side of it, I think an influencer,
Mm-mm.
like true to its name, it's just anyone that be able to impart some type of influence or change, be
Yeah.
able to mold a certain type of thought, whether that be on a certain concept, advocacy, or even just a brand. So, there,
Yeah.
that is our definition of influencers. Yes.
It really takes time to accept yourself before you put yourself out there confidently. Alam mo yun, parang nakaka-conscious kasi that what if I say something wrong? What if I say
Yeah,
something
that's
that
so
I
true.
might get cancelled for? 'Di ba? So, yun nga, it
Yeah.
all goes back with knowing who you are and how you want to be perceived in social media. Kasi a part of being an influencer is knowing what your branding is gonna be. If that makes sense. Like, gusto mo ba yung branding mo parang, you know, I don't know, it's really up to you. Yeah.
Yeah, because even if you're not an influencer, ano eh, you have those thoughts then. Pero
Mm.
being an influencer, it's like it's
All
magnified
the
pa.
more. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the
Yeah,
more.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you're
Uh-uh.
hindi naman forced, but you really need to
An
put yourself out there
obligation.
eh.
Yeah.
Yeah, parang ganon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I also add before we move to the
Yeah,
next
for sure.
question? Na parang
Oh,
if
go.
parang if Janelle was more like pressured, I guess, on the likes or what to say
Mm-mm.
or how to look
Mm-mm.
digitally naman. Me,
Mm-mm.
I felt
Mm-mm.
the more like pressure to always just look good physically because with
Mm.
Candy, you
Mm-mm.
never know
Mm-mm.
when the next project will be. So parang I feel like in my first
Mm-mm.
2 years of college, grabe, I was like how many pounds lighter than how I was now because at that time I was always striving to just look photo ready na parang if the
Wow.
says like, "Oh, Isabel, tomorrow there's a photo shoot," I'd have to make sure that I look thin enough or my skin is good enough that if I go to the shoot tomorrow, I'm okay. So parang there was that I guess like consistent pressure to always be camera quote unquote ready.
Mm-mm. Yung
So
self-image
Yeah.
eh. Because
that
you're
was
putting
Understandable.
yourself out there.
yeah, that was one of the
True.
things that was
Yeah.
quite pressuring during the journey
Mm-mm.
talaga. Yeah.
I'm glad we talked about this bigla. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's so I
So
guess this is what
reassuring.
people
Like,
don't see
Yeah.
and
That's
what people
true.
don't
Buti nga we
know,
had a
'di ba?
episode for this.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oo.
no,
Kasi sometimes yung mga ibang influencers talaga, sometimes, wow, they're so well put together or like everything is just so beautiful or well curated. Alam mo yon?
Yeah.
But we're
yeah.
all human. Diba? We
there's
all
there's
have
a
Yeah.
that.
lot of behind the scenes that goes through what you see. I think as an actual career option, as in like my full-time job, I think my straight up answer would be no. No, not at all. Because like honest, to be honest, then na parang after 2 years with Candy, I got really tired. I got really tired of that constant pressure nga to always post, to make time to take a picture with the products or to always look good na parang lalo na I had no intention of going into this, right? Like as I mentioned a while ago, all I was doing was kaartehan lang. Like I was just making cute and everything. But when it happened, I kind of got like dragged into it and stuff because I realized na parang for someone to be an influencer, to have that as their job, you really need someone that's willing to be active digitally, like almost 24/7. And I realized that about myself that I'm not that person that can be like super active all the time online. Especially since I guess to just be transparent here, na parang I had low points in my life ng 2017 and 2020. I mean, like 2020 was really a bad year for a lot of us na parang last year I think I like barely posted like at all. From being super active for the past years, at 2020 I kind of just stopped. Diba? And that's the thing about being a quote-unquote influencer. If you want to grow in your following, you more or less have to be consistent. Like some people post every single day. Like, like I can't. Like, you need to be ready for that talaga, I guess, emotionally. And not only that, I don't think I'd want to have it as my job because as an extrovert, I still need to work with people like face to face. Like, I can't handle nga, like a job that's just on my phone and everything like that. And yun nga, na parang social media can be very overwhelming. I think we can all agree to that. And tiring,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
it's not something that I honestly want to engage with my whole life. Like if I could have the option to be successful without social media, honestly, I'd prefer that. It's just so it's just how so happened that the work that I'm doing so far is on it. But in the future, I'm for sure gonna at least be in the entertainment industry where that it's not too linked to being on my Instagram feed lang. Ganon.
Social media can really be overwhelming because alam mo yun, sometimes you just need to take a step back from social media. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a type of person na hindi naman yung buong buhay ko 24/7 I want it on social media. I guess
Mm-hmm.
it's also my lifestyle. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
just
it's the
assuming this.
lifestyle, diba? Oo.
Oo. May people kasi talaga lifestyle nila na very everything madali lang mag-Instagram. Madami silang plans or I don't know. Like alam mo yun,
Mm.
it's really about or ma-picture talaga sila and there's nothing wrong with that. I guess
Yeah.
in my opinion, it's just not also fit for my lifestyle. So I would say that no, I would not, you know, I wouldn't make this my full-time job.
Yeah.
If
It's a
anything,
side thing.
maybe a side job,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
but I don't like kasi I don't really enjoy the pressures kasi of
The
always
pressure.
with the need to always post something
Mm.
or to be consistent with it
Oo.
because I don't know, maybe I don't know, actually parang I'm just gonna be real, but I don't really like to be
Mm-mm.
pressured kasi to take pictures of my face.
Yeah.
I don't like to take pictures of my face always. Parang,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, it's just a me thing. And I don't like being
Mm.
very open on social media. Like there's a
Yeah.
certain
Right.
extent that I just want to keep it to myself. And
Mm.
honestly, you know, since I really hope, kasi parang in the future kasi, this is what my dad said naman. So maybe I'm open to seeing, you know, social media or being an influencer, medyo sideline or career in the future. It's
Yeah.
when, for example, I'm a doctor na, tapos I'm using
Oo.
my platform to educate
Yeah.
other people. Alam mo yung mga parang sikat
Yeah.
na mga doctors like Dr. Gia
YouTubers.
Season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Kilimang Guru. I don't know, but he's a
Dr.
TikToker who,
Mark. Dr.
oh,
Mike.
yung
Dr. Mike.
oh,
I
by
don't know.
Dr. Mike, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kasi kung ganon, if it's aligned to my job and I'm getting exposure, my dad would always say, it's also nice to build it in that way so that you can get more patients. Diba?
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
kilala nila ikaw, okay, kilala ko to si Jeanelle, she's a neurologist, let's go to her.
Oo.
So in
Oo.
that way, yes, if it's gonna be for the benefit of my
Yeah.
main career, diba? Since the
Yeah. Pang
sideline should
support.
also,
Yeah.
yeah, help give exposure to your
Yeah.
full-time career. So yes, if in that way. But then no, if I'm
Yung
gonna do
full
it as a
time.
full-time na vlogger
Yeah, yun
talaga
lang.
or yeah, just not my thing and not into my lifestyle. Yeah, parang
Yeah.
different priorities lang din TBH.
That's so
And
true.
where I find my fulfillment. And that's okay because everyone has their own
That's so
fulfillment
true.
or purpose, diba?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I was
Totally.
saying na
Yeah.
parang I don't think naman being an influencer full time is a bad thing, but it just does
Yeah.
require a certain type of person who is willing to share and willing to be
Mm-mm.
like very present digitally like 24/7. If that's for you, if you're that type of
Yes.
person, then go, why not, diba? That it's just I guess that's
Yes.
not me and Janelle now willing to be there like
Yeah.
consistently all the time, diba? Mm-mm.
Yeah. Kasi to add to what
Hmm.
Isabel said, it really takes work before you get a large number of following, because before
Oh
you get
yeah.
a lot of brands, and to actually get paid consistently
Mm.
to for for just posting something.
Calamansi has been so fun. Honestly, yeah, to be transparent, like my partner and I. Shout out to Rafi Velarde. I love you, my partner. But we went into this whole thing just really seeing it as a job opportunity to make money. Simply that. Like to really just earn. But we our perspective changed when throughout our episodes we would tackle like really sensitive topics like body positivity or how to start your own business or like the pandemic identity crisis, like shifting courses or realizing your dreams late in life and everything. And people would literally message us like, oh, do you know I'm taking down notes, or like, do you know that the story that was shared a while ago, I can super relate. I didn't know someone else was going through the same thing. Like, thank you so much for that episode. Or people would come up on stage and ask questions and like even have like free consultations with a doctor or a fitness instructor, like for us to be able to be part of that certain platform and help others or strangers learn more and grow throughout this hard time is it's really a privilege, and I'm really thankful to be a part of Calamansi. Shout out to Calamansi and Miss Trina as well.
So Calamansi, in my own words, I would define it as a platform wherein it is a live interactive podcast because it's purely on audio, and at the same time,
Mm.
um, people can interact with you. People can just come up on stage and also unmute themselves so that they can share their own thoughts. So what's really beautiful about Calamansi and how it's so different as a platform is because you get to learn so much about different people's perspective. Like for example, you have a question or people can also engage with your guest speakers. So for my show is called That Fresh Perspective with Jeanelle and Luigi, wherein I host with Luigi Velasco. And shout out, this is my shout out to my co-host. And and we've and our first episode was about cancel culture, if it's good or bad. Is so like making social media less toxic. We also talked about imposter syndrome, the feeling of not being good enough, and normalizing diversity in the Philippines. But at the same time, we can also tackle topics that's more, alam mo yun, interesting and controversial, like yung totoo, looks or personality, or quarantine and things. It's really interesting. So parang at the beginning, me and Luigi were met up about it, and we were like, what's gonna be our branding? And nowadays, since it's a pandemic, what do people really ano ba yung mas magki-click sa people, or what do people need? And I felt like it was a place to find comfort and to feel that they can relate to someone. So that's how I saw Calamansi as that platform for that.
With even your
Yeah.
podcast like this, guys. Like, I
Yes.
think I just want to highlight in a lot of people are lonely nowadays. Like, there are a lot
Yes.
of people who don't get to talk to their friends or even like listen to other people's conversations and everything. So, you never know that there might be someone lonely out there that will stumble upon your podcast, hear your conversation and laugh along with you guys. And just imagine that's one person that you already helped. So, good job that you
Tama.
guys are doing
So
this. Keep
validating.
keep at it. Keep at it,
Yeah,
Yeah.
super
guys. Yeah.
validating.
Nice
Of
uplifting words.
course.
I like it.
Of course. Of
And
course,
you guys
guys.
don't know that this
Mm.
podcast or your show is something that the person just needed all along. Alam mo yun?
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Parang
Mm.
maybe when you guys post this podcast about influencers, maybe it was a sign that they never knew they needed. 'Di ba?
Mm-mm.
You guys don't know that that's gonna be the impact of your show. So
Yeah.
you guys should really keep on doing this. It's really beautiful.
Let's
Go
go,
guys.
guys.
Let's
Whoop,
go.
whoop,
Like,
whoop,
Reassurance.
whoop.
Grabe, so heartwarming.
I
Of
know,
course.
Yeah.
like whether or not like your following's big or not, or like
Mm.
even if you guys are just starting out palang now, we feel that it's
Mm.
really important that people understand like the whole concept of influencing and like why you can see this as a possible career option even when you guys might not be thinking about doing this forever. Like you guys are still
Mm.
starting out, so like a lot can
Yeah.
change in
Yeah.
that time and in that journey that you're about to take now. And like honestly, like you guys are like perfect guests for this episode because even though
Wow.
Wow.
you're just beginners, even though you're just beginners, your insight is so relatable. Like even for us, we're not influencers. We don't understand anything about that
Mm-mm.
side of like doing
Mm-hmm.
things, and you made it so clear and
Yeah.
understandable. And
Thank
like
you
it's
guys.
clear that you guys have the talent to pursue this should you want to. So I
Yeah.
guess, the last thing that we want to ask before we wrap up this podcast is if you guys have any advice
Mm-hmm.
to give to any people, like any person who's planning on, pursuing this as a career or even like
Yeah.
planning to start out being an
Mm-mm.
influencer.
Yeah. These are my three pieces of advice for you. Number one, it's very simple. It's on the business side of things. I really encourage you guys to do the brands justice because at the end of the day, these brands are choosing you guys to represent them. And these businesses are feeding families. They behind the names of different brands like Cream Silk or Pond's or Senka, there are people who are using this as their livelihood. So if they choose you as an endorser, might as well do it justice. Put effort talaga. Give them good content. Give them good output. Because at the end of the day, you have to be professional about this as well. It may not seem like a real job, but if you take it seriously and people see your professionalism, more opportunities will really come. The second piece of advice is more related to that anti-influencer question. If you want to be an influencer, I really encourage you to ask why. Why are you doing this in the first place? Diba? Because it's so easy when it comes to influencing to get so lost into trying to make brands notice you. It's so easy to lose yourself in trying to chase followers, grow your following because um it will have an effect talaga to you mentally and emotionally when you're just so focused on numbers and like projects. 'Diba? If you do have a deeper why to why you're doing this in the first place, leads me to my third piece of advice, which is to like what I think Janelle already touched upon a while ago. It's really using your platform for good. It's going beyond to just posting these product photos, but realizing that your platform can influence and impart some positive change to someone else. Like aside from just posting your lipstick, you can encourage our generation to register to vote. Small
Mm-mm.
things like that can really have a change, and especially in our generation. Like I think we shouldn't second guess the power of social media. Like right now, like people can see your post and you'll never know how they'll take it, but if it will change their life in a good way, then it will always be worth it. So that's me. Thanks,
Wow.
guys.
Mic
Thanks,
drop.
I love
So
it,
of
epic.
Isabel.
Wow.
course.
So number one is really to not compare yourself from to other people. Remember that
Mhm.
you're not competing with other people, and they may be good at different things in different areas, but it's not an equal comparison because just like everyone else, we're all humans. We're all humans now. There's always something, we always have our strengths and our weaknesses. And maybe sometimes we just see the strengths of other people, but that doesn't mean that they don't also have their own share of weaknesses. So in a way, alam mo yun, lahat naman tayo, we're the same and there's no need for a comparison. And what matters is as long as you're improving, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Remember that it's progress, not perfection, and not competition. So I
Nice.
shared this also the other day that one person's success does not diminish your worth. It just shows that you can
Mm.
do it too. So instead, just lift each other up and don't, parang just lift each other up and remember that one person's light does not diminish your own light. If anything, it can help you find the light that you have within to bring it out even more. So alam mo yun, I would just end this first bullet point about not comparing yourself with, don't compare your chapter 10 with someone else's chapter 21. It's
Yeah.
basically how, respect your own progress and your pacing. Don't be too harsh to yourself because everyone starts in the beginning. Everyone starts with being a beginner, diba? And the people that you look up to, they also had their own beginnings and stories. So don't let their own progress hinder you. And at the same time, don't compare someone else's chapter 20, chapter 5 to your chapter 10, if that makes sense. In a sense that you don't need to just compare yourself kung mababa ba yung tao or mas mataas sa'yo. Just look at yourself, and just be at your own, just look at your own path. Someone shared this on our show the other day. It was about, it's a swimming metaphor, na parang when you're swimming, 'di ba? Parang when you're swimming, when you look to the left and to the right, mas nagiging mabagal ka, and mas nagiging mabagal ka because you're looking at, you're more conscious about how you're doing in other people's eyes. But if you just continue swimming while looking down, the more that you will get faster to your progress. So just continue to respect your progress, and just, respect yourself and not be harsh to yourself. Second is, just be genuine. Just be your genuine self. I know that there are like societal expectations, yun nga, mga, ano ba yung mga ideal when it comes to having that Instagram influencer type of Instagram or content, but just be your genuine self, because that authentic self is what's gonna make you different from other people. So don't change yourself, and just continue to put yourself out there and who you are, because the right audience will accept you. You don't need to please a different audience or target market that it's not for you. Alam mo yon.
Mm.
And that's okay. So lastly, number 3 is really to just do it. Do it. Any ideas that you have. This is what I learned from Isabel's podcast with Bong. He was like saying, because super nag-boom si siya sa TikTok, si Bong. Like, shout out, he really inspired me. And he was saying na life is short, so just post it. Kahit di ka maganda dyan, or kahit nako-conscious ka about how you look, just do it. So you know what? That also gave me confidence na we're not gonna live long. We're all gonna turn into dust. No one's gonna remember this. And at the same time, not everyone is as focused to what you're doing as you think they are.
Yeah.
'Di ba? Parang sometimes kasi when we're putting ourselves out there, we think that all eyes are on us. But no, honestly, no. It's not that exaggerated, and just do it. Just post what you need to post. Just do it. If you want to make a YouTube podcast, just go for it. Because if not now,
Yes.
when? Diba?
Yeah.
So that's all. Yeah.
Mismo, mismo.
Yeah.
Agree.
Bars. I love it, Jeanelle.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4. Thanks for tuning in to more Screw Up Sis.